I always knew that I'd make a part 4 to cover the Zonai runes. Not long after part 3 came out, I realized I'd forgotten a few things. I didn't expect part 4 to be me sharing what I believe to be the solution to one of the better riddles of Tears of the Kingdom, which is, are the Zonai runes real, and if so, do they mean anything? I'm thrilled to say they are real, and they do indeed have meaning in many places. If you're just joining us at part 4, I would recommend watching the other 3 parts in order to fully understand the history of this research and the challenges that come with it. That said, after 2.5 years of research, I'm ready to dive in. So let's go. Before we can dig into the answer, we should start with a small refresher on the writing system in Ocarina of Time, because Zonai functions much in a similar way. The Ocarina of Time writing system has 46 logographs, with each functioning as a kana, or single syllable in Japanese. All of those form at least one syllable sound, with at least 20 of them having up to 3 syllable sounds thanks to Dakuten and Handakuten. One of the hurdles with translating Hylian from Ocarina of Time is that you have to first transcribe each Hylian character back into a Japanese syllable. Then for each phrase, determine how to sound the syllable to form the right word. A prime example of this is in kakede and kagede. Kakede means to soar to fly, while kagede means to become obscured by darkness. Just like with the Ocarina of Time writing system, each rune represents at least one mora in the Japanese language. Some runes definitely have multiple meanings, such as with sei and zei, as well as kei and gei. Several of us long suspected that the runes may function the same way as in Ocarina of Time. Laurelian historian observed that there was limited evidence of runes with diacritic marks. This breathed new life into the research process, because it would effectively mean that the 14 runes we had to work with could produce much more than 14 syllable sounds. One of the more interesting things revealed in Masterworks is around Zonai language as it relates to the runes in the imprisoning chamber. It confirmed what many of us have suspected for years now, which is that the runes floating about Ganon in the imprisoning chamber are not a writing system, but instead used for magic. It goes on to say that the runes we find etched into ruins and plastered onto Zonai devices are part of a writing system. Masterworks refers to the ceremonial runes as Old Zonai. The importance of those runes are further underscored by their real-world inspiration, Kotodama. Kotodama is an ancient Japanese belief that there are words and sounds that can alter reality and have healing effects. If you've seen the other parts of this series, you may remember that I expounded on the idea that Rauru was attempting to heal Ganon in order to restore the natural balance of things. This is a primary purpose for Kotodama, and I'm thrilled that it's finally confirmed. Old Zonai can be found in more places than just the imprisoning chamber. The Authentication Crest and the Denial Crest contain runes from the older system. I've chosen to interpret their presence as being for magical purposes only, most likely as part of the seal on temples and shrines. I wouldn't go quite as far as to say that there is simply Old Zonai and then everything else. The secret stones have their own representations based in kanji, but there are more kanji-based runes even yet. On the shield for Mineru's construct, along with the barrier created by Rauru during the sealing event, is the kanji for protection. The existence of more rune-like kanji provides further proof that the Zelda team was attempting to build a writing system for the Zonai. It's fascinating to see the depth and attention to detail. The unfortunate reality, which you'll see as we go on, is that it seems they didn't quite finish what they started. Over the course of attempting hundreds of tests to solve this, I've found that not all text can be translated. This unfortunately extends to include the Zonai murals and 3 of 5 ring ruin tablets. If you're disappointed by this, please know you're not alone. You might be asking yourself, how do we know for sure that the murals and several stone tablets can't be translated? Well, to that I would answer that unfortunately our old friend frequency analysis comes into play. To explain, let's take a look at the ring ruin tablets. I've included the count of occurrences of each rune on the slabs. If you look at slabs 1 and 2, you can see that the occurrences vary pretty well overall. For the remaining slabs, we can see that the occurrences between each rune are often the same or very close to one another. This is a great indicator that the runes were selected randomly to create those tablets. It's unfortunate because it means that only 2 of them can possibly be translated. In the other parts of this series, I've mentioned that I felt something happened during development that caused the Zelda team to abandon the Zonai language. This is one of those examples. To further underscore the point, I want to call attention to the numbers I've used to label the slabs. In spite of their labels, they have different numbers as assets. This is what those numbers are. In case you missed it, the slab labeled as 2 is not present. Due to the way in which games are developed, I would speculate that slab 2 existed at some point and was later removed. It is impossible to know the exact reason why they did this. What about the murals, though? They aren't faring much better, but there are word fragments present within them. Let's take a look at the mural of Rauru with the secret stones. By substituting the kana into the mural, a few things jump out that are relevant to the depiction. The word or parts of the word stone appear multiple times. Finding contextually correct words on the murals tells me that they may have been translatable at one point. I know that was a lot of pretext, but I wanted to get that out of the way since it's what the majority of people want to know about. For the next few minutes, I want to share the translations with you for the text that is translatable and not randomly generated. Instead of talking through all of them, I'm going to let music and words guide you. I hope you enjoy. What I've shown accounts for the majority of the rune text available in the game, but it's definitely not all of it. Even a year and a few months since launch, I still occasionally find rune text in unexpected places. It goes without saying that while this attempt represents a very probable solution for the runes, that's not to say I feel it's bulletproof. The reason is that unless Nintendo confirms their meaning in Masterworks, we will never truly know. Statistically, there isn't a lot of room for other solutions to work as well as this one. I have 786 attempts to back that statement up. I believe strongly that this is mostly right. That's not to say there aren't dangling threads. Perhaps the most puzzling thing is the Light Ring quest countdown and its relation to the runes. At one point, we thought we found the answer. Buried in the game assets is the configuration for the quest. Each has a variable for each Zonai rune, assigned to an actual letter. This is some of the only evidence we've gotten beyond the quest itself that the runes were intended as a writing system of some kind. We tested this thoroughly, using the letters as a pool of potential letters along with the kana found on Japanese keyboards in the same space. Neither of those tests yielded anything. The Light Ring configuration file along with the murals and ring ruin slabs further provide evidence that there was intent with the runes all along, but the chaotic nature of their usage leads me closer to the opinions I shared in parts 1 through 3. Which is that something happened that caused Nintendo to abandon Zonai as a first-class writing system. Whether it was COVID, development hell, or something else entirely, we may never know. After 2 years and several months, I know that my journey with the runes is finished. I hope that you enjoyed following this topic. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments. To end, I want to thank everyone along the way that contributed to this effort. Thank you all so much for your time, patience, and curiosity.
Deliver Zora Spear from Zora's Spear domain right into the heart of your enemies. These spears are made for hitting targets underwater. You bet your ass that they can majestically sail right into the chest of your enemies. Whatever you do, don't try to stab Beetle, because he is an elder god that transcends time.